Hello, this is Joanna the Medium, and thank you so much for coming back. A little bit of an intro. First of all, thank you so much for watching, for liking, for subscribing, and for sharing. It means the world to me. Thank you so much for all your comments. I read every single one of them, and even if I don't respond to most of them because it's not feasible, I do read every single one of them, as well as your emails. If you would like a private session, of course, you can contact me with the information down below. I have included links below for you. These are general readings, so they will not make sense to all of you. They shouldn't make sense to all of you. Also, if one sign does not make sense to you, as in sun sign, listen to your rising sign and your moon sign. And I find, not only from myself, but also from those who comment, that the additional signs tend to paint a more complete picture of what is going on. Many of these messages will not make sense to you towards until the third week or the end of November. A lot of times, or in the readings that I did for November, many times the timeline was being referred to down the road towards the end of the month and towards December. So if this doesn't make sense to you at the beginning of November, do re-listen to it towards the end of November, as you will know exactly what this pertains to. Some of the situations will happen, and they won't happen at the beginning. They'll happen towards the end of November, so that way you will have no understanding of it when you are listening to it at the very beginning. October was a little bit interesting. The last 2 weeks for October for me felt very energetically all over the place. I felt like I was being pulled from different directions. I don't know if it had to do with any kind of alignments of the stars or planets, and if you do find it was the same for you, you're not alone. But if you also know why that is, feel free to enlighten me, because I don't know much about astrology. Actually, I don't know anything about astrology, to be honest. And I think that's all I have for you. November seems to be at least the first 2-3 weeks, it seems to be a little bit more chill, as I call it. Certainly a little bit more so than the last 2 weeks of October. So it looks like we're getting a bit of an emotional break, which is always a very welcomed aspect as far as I'm concerned. And I think that's all I have for you. Again, thank you so much for watching, for sharing, for liking, and for subscribing. And without further ado, let's go to the readings. See you soon. Hello and welcome back. This is going to be a intuitive reading for the sign of Taurus for November 2017. I have 3 cards face down. I will start off with message from Spirit, and I'll see what we got. Allow yourself to receive. This is a message that is going to be consistent for the entire month of November and December for you. The receiving is about the word love. So it is about love. Love is coming to you in unexpected ways. And he's saying, because you've asked for it. Allow yourself to receive. For the more you allow yourself to receive, the more the universe will provide to you. In the past, he's showing me you have been reluctant in receiving. And I'm going to open this up a little bit. The reluctance wasn't to do with you not wanting, but the reluctance has to do with more with not believing. And there's a huge distinction here, because the underlying message within you was one of unworthiness. You have not allowed yourself to receive fully, perhaps because you didn't know how. Now, this not being able to receive fully may not be something that you are fully aware of or conscious of, but it is nonetheless something that has been running through your structure as a theme in your entire life. And he says the word mama, mother, and inconsistent parents. So if you are one of those individuals who unfortunately does not believe that they deserve more, it has to do with your parents, your mother, and inconsistencies to do with emotions. Also, volatile background or background where you grew up not knowing what to expect, emotionally speaking, at any given day. For those of you who are looking for love, he says the word trust, and that's being underlined over and over again. Not only trust in your ability to receive love, but also trust in the fact that you are worth receiving love. So in other words, trust in yourself. Critically important here. He's showing to me that in the month of October, and I am recording this at the end of October, something has transpired, and I want to say either 2 weeks into October or the last 2 weeks of October, something has transpired that opened a door for you, emotionally speaking, that you were perhaps not expecting. And he's showing me this as an unexpected set of circumstances or events. He's also saying to me, this isn't and wasn't a coincidence. What happened isn't a coincidence. It is something that is part of your plan, part of your soul plan, part of your soul's path. He's also saying to me that whatever happened in the last 2 weeks or first 2 weeks of October is an indication of where you are going emotionally, okay? So for some of you, you met somebody. For some of you, you connected with somebody. And this could be for single people or married or coupled. I don't know. It's not being, the distinction is not being made for me. But what he's asking me to zero in on is whatever happened in the first or last 2 weeks of October has significantly changed your perspective on who you are and who you want to be. And he says this is significant. This is significant enough to make you want to question what is and what has been up until this point. He also says, be mindful that the choices are yours, and how you proceed forward has the ability to completely change and transform your life. And then he says, for the better. Okay? So I'm not saying you guys are leaving somebody. I'm not saying you're moving forward with whoever you met or what you met. But there is something that is being addressed here that is a circumstance that made you kind of go, let me think. He says, knowing that you can, you therefore will. I'm going to see if they can give me a little bit more information here. Knowing and believing that you can receive will then allow you to actually receive, because the universe will bring situations to you or circumstances or people that will show you that you in fact can, because you believe and you can. So again, this goes back to the very beginning of the message, where you have to change your belief system. You have to change the thinking about your ability to attract something that is greater than what you've had up until this point or what you've experienced up until this point. Something about the belief system not being flawed. I don't understand. He says, ask them to pay attention to how they feel about themselves. And he says, when they ask themselves that question, they will then have a clear understanding of what their belief system is about attracting love and about what they believe about love. So if you berate yourself, if you question yourself, if you undervalue yourself, if you don't underappreciate yourself, all of that is consistent with you feeling like you do not deserve the best, whether love, relationship, money, whatever it may be. So examine your belief system and examine how you feel about yourself. He says this is not just now, this is forever, but it's really important for you to pay attention to this at this particular juncture of your life. And he showed me the number 5. 5 is, well, it does stand for the month of May, but 5 is number of changes. And there is a component of an emotional loss here. Either experiencing emotional loss or having had experienced emotional loss. There's something here about emotional loss that you are going through right now, or emotional loss is being somehow triggered in you. And then I'm going to go to the cards. So the first card is representing what situation has contributed to where you are right now. And we have the card called mental conflict. So very straightforward. 2 is number of choices and decisions, but it is shown to me in reverse. So because this card is pertaining to what was, I'm going to ask what this card means to you specifically in this particular reading. He says having the ability to think and act on it. What do you mean? He's saying to me that your ability to project thoughts forward have caused you to question yourself. I don't understand what that means. He says, ask them to stop second guessing. Okay, so in the past, you have had tendency to second guess yourself. In the past. And he's saying, because of it, you have found yourself in situations where things were not going the way you wanted to go. But he's saying is you had a lot to do with it because you were the one who second guessed yourself and therefore created an environment where it would tell you that what you feel about yourself is actually true. So, but that's a belief system. So that's in the past. I don't want to spend too much time on this, and it's actually quite convoluted at this point. I'm not quite understanding it. So I want to move on to the next card, which is now. What is the situation now? We have the card called Temptation. This is a major arcana card. Temptation, well, that's pretty straightforward. It's to do with resistance. It's to do with being tempted to do something. There is a resistance, reluctance to change. However, it is shown to me in reverse. So I'm going to tune into this card and ask what this means for you. And he says, do not be tempted to change your life right now. This isn't the time. So if you are thinking of changing, if you have thoughts of changes, if you have thoughts of the way your life is right now, and you have a whole bunch of thoughts and ideas, he says this is not the right time to change your circumstances. And I feel like in your mind you're driving yourself a little bit crazy. He says, allow yourself to think first, act later. Don't make any foolish decisions or don't make any foolish steps going forward that you might regret. And this could be because of what happened in the last 2 weeks or first week of October, because you met somebody or something was said to you. It could very well be that. And it most probably is connected to it. So be mindful of the situation, but also be mindful of your decisions. And he's showing me that if you make any decisions right now, a whole bunch of problems may arise which you are not expecting, and that is not going to make things any easier. So this is very interesting. Now the next card is an advice card. So what is the advice for you? The card is called Suffering in Silence. It is another number 9, which does signify changes. This is a card pertaining to your passion, your spirit. It's the 9 of Wands, but it is shown to me in reverse. So I'm going to ask here, he says to me, this isn't a time to put all your eggs in one basket. And that's very interesting, because that's not something that I would get from this card. But again, whatever's happening right now is a crucial moment in your own evolution, because it is forcing you to dig deep into yourself and ask yourself questions you haven't asked before, or you were afraid to ask. And the situation that happened in October has been significant enough for you to question aspects of yourself or your life that you haven't allowed yourself to question before. And that's okay. That's okay. Everything has its time. Everything has its perfect timing. But he's asking you not to make any decisions yet. Very, very important. I do feel you are coming to an end of a phase in a certain way of being. This could be a certain way of being in a relationship, certain way of being in a relationship with yourself, and perhaps discovering aspects of yourself that you had not been aware of. And these aspects are going to allow you to be much more comfortable with who you are and confident in who you are, which then will allow you to have better relationships. Because as we change, as we grow, as we evolve, it allows our external circumstances to evolve and change with it. He says you are where you are right now, and the rest will be the way it's meant to be. And I get a really clear message that you are not to project anything forward right now. In other words, don't go in your mind to, future and have it all lined up and have it all there for you already in your mind. He says, don't do that. It's way too soon and way too early to do this. So whatever situation you're dealing with, you're being asked to wait. You're being asked to pause. You're being asked to not get too far ahead of yourself. Very, very important. Still, you have to be still at this point. This is not about taking actions. This is about you understanding yourself on a much deeper level that you have not understood yourself before, or you were not aware of before. So this is about exploration of self. This is what this time is, and it will be for the next few months. And I'm seeing the number 6. So this could be up until of June of next year, or 6 weeks, or 6 months. I do want to stick more with 6 months. So this will be an exploration period of yourself. This is not a period to make any drastic changes or decisions. Very, very important. I also hear that if you do make any drastic movements or decisions, you are more likely to fall flat on your face and things not working out well for you. So this has to be a really well thought out process for those of you who are contemplating making drastic changes. Okay? I've done several readings already for November, and the one thing that seems to be very consistent is this is not a time for doing. This is more time for planning. This is more time for sitting still. It's not even planning. This is just more time of sitting back and letting things unfold. This isn't time for action. Certainly not when it comes to relationship leaving or breaking up or anything of that sort. Now, for some of you who are not dealing with relationships, this could be something to do with work. Perhaps you have found out some information in October that made you think, that made you realize some things about yourself, and that made you contemplate things you haven't thought about before. But again, he's saying this is not a time for action right now. Action will happen next year. Not right now. Very, very important. Again, still, being still and just taking information in. You are in a process or in a phase of gathering information. That's what this is now. It's almost like this is a information gathering phase for you, or data gathering phase for you, where you gather, and then at a certain point you will have enough information at your disposal to then be able to make a concrete worthwhile decision. And now is not the time. Very, very important. Hastiness. He says hastiness. No hastiness. No hastiness. Oh boy. I think that's all I've got for you. Let me just see if there's anything else here. I keep seeing the letter R, and this is a name. I feel this is a male name. I'm not sure why this is shown to me. It could also apply to females. So perhaps some of you have a letter R in your name, or your name starts with the letter R, in which case this probably pertains to you more so than anybody else. So I'm going to leave that there. And again, I'm hearing the month of June. Some of you connect with June, or the situation has a connection to June. The situation that transpired in October has a connection to June somehow, whether a person, a party, or whatever it may be. And then he says, be patient. Everything is going to work out okay in the end. But I do feel like this is a road that is going to take quite some time. So you are on a journey. You are definitely on a journey of change and transformation. And where you're going is definitely somewhere different than where you are right now. But the time is not now to make that change. Just gather information for now. And I think that's all I have. So this was a bit of a strange reading, but this month's reading have been a little bit strange because the energy feels very chaotic to me. I hope this does make sense. You can also listen to your other signs to make sure that it corresponds or gives you a better picture of what's happening. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, for sharing, and for liking. And if you would like a private reading, of course, you can reach me, and I will be more than happy to do that. That information I have provided for you is down below, as well as the link to my booking page is right there. If you feel comfortable, or if you feel inclined or inspired to write a comment how this has fit with you, please do. I always love to read them. And until the month of December, I wish you best of luck. Have a wonderful November. Thank you again for watching, and see you soon.